lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me.
We have seen 4 incredible races this season, and the races have been split between 2 competitors. Can either Bentley Glazer or Kyle McCartney get taken off the perch here tonight as the Western States Racing League heads to Kansas Speedway for round number 5 of season number 45. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening here tonight. And alongside me is my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso. Now, Tony, we're Ben Bruno should be here a little bit later. Then after that, I will go back into hiding. But Tony, you've been on the call for all 4 of these races this season. I've been in the production truck for for 2 of them. Nothing but great racing here in this series, which we've come to expect, and Kansas tonight is going to be very little different.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Kansas, these guys always put on a great show no matter what track they go to, but it's something about this vehicle and track combination that every time these guys have come to Kansas, it's been an amazing show. But I have bad news for the rest of the field. I'm currently looking at the timing and scoring pylon during the hot lap session. P1, Bentley Glazer. P2, Jeff Hollingsworth. Yeah, it's going to be a long night for these guys.
It is. It's looking like an OGR night here in the very beginning. But let's take a look at the championship for right now. Bentley Glazer currently leading the championship by 10 points over Kyle McCartney. Now remember, McCartney's taken the first 2 races of the season. Bentley has taken the last 2, and it took a bump and run last week for Glazer to take the win at Dover.
It took a bump and run, and the thing to remember, too, Bentley Glazer has sat on the pole for 3 of the past 4 races.
That is one hot start for certain as we take a look down the rest of the point standings here as we work our way into the 5th race of the season. We've only got about 2 minutes left to go here in this practice session, and as Tony had alluded to before, Bentley Glazer currently sitting atop the timing and scoring pylon with a 31.043. Jeff Hollingsworth only about 3/100ths of a second behind him. Rob Gall up there as well. Butch Davis also in the 31.0s. And then we get to a newcomer to the series. The driver of the number 3 tonight will be Dalton England. He's a series debutant right now running in the 5th position. If you want to find where Kyle McCartney is, there he is on track coming out of turn number 2 in the wall. Currently sitting in 10th right now, but only about a tenth and a half behind.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the field's pretty tight tonight. I mean, you got your top 15 separated by 0.2. That's not that much. But you mentioned the series debutant, Dalton England. Kind of surprised he's here tonight, considering that it's Indiana Sprint Week and the USAC sprint cars, midget cars, are actually one town over from where he lives.
Well, there you go. So we also have, I believe, another series debutant. That's Jerry Sterner. You'll see him in the number 39 tonight. I'm trying to remember if I've seen him in any of the races this season. I cannot recall. So Jerry Sterner will be a series debutant as well here tonight. We've only got about 20 seconds, now 15 to go before we hit this practice session, and already take a look at guys like David Weaver, who you're seeing on screen right now. He's already run this race plus some. He's put down 121 laps here in this practice session, getting prepared for 107 that he's going to have to run tonight.
Well, that's the thing. David's one of those guys that whenever he goes into a race situation, he wants to know exactly how far he can push that fuel mileage. So I guarantee you that's what he's been doing. He hasn't been doing tire runs per se. He's been doing fuel runs to see, if I have to, how long can I stretch this thing out for?
Eric Woods, another one who had jumped up over the century mark, did 116 laps in this practice session. I believe Earl Weaver did 109. So guys turning a lot of laps. Even Bentley Glazer put out 80 plus in this practice session. As we take a look now at Dave Weaver coming out of pit road, getting set to start this 10-minute qualifying session here, and we've seen it all season long. These guys, they're not just going straight out. They're trying to time this to be as late as possible, and it's not just the guys in the back that are waiting. It's the guys that we're seeing up at the front. Jeff Schmeier has been really focusing on that strategy of qualifying as late as he possibly can.
Well, I mean, it kind of behooves you, especially with the sun setting here at the lovely Kansas Speedway. And I'm looking at the scenic cam right now, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I've actually been to the casino on the backstretch. But the thing to remember, too, when these guys started the practice session, the track temperature was 109 degrees. It's now down to 82 degrees Fahrenheit, and the wind has died down remarkably. They had 5 mile an hour gusting to 7. It's now down to a steady 2. So what they have in the truck is going to be a little more stable than it was at the start of the practice session. And I'm looking down through the timing and scoring. There's another debutant that I'm seeing, and that would be the 95 of Fred Williams. I don't recall him being...
He might have been here last week as Kevin Thrift resets his fastest lap of the session. I think I remember Williams. I'm not entirely sure, but I think I remember him from Dover last week. But we're also going into tonight as we see Dennis Fuson take his final qualifying lap. He's in 4th right now, and he will improve up to 3rd. As we'll take a look at Jackson Bell, who's about halfway to beginning his first lap. We saw in the Sim Racers Edge race here a couple of weeks ago, this track was very bottom line oriented, and you needed to get a really good run if you wanted to make that outside line work. We're expecting it to be the complete opposite. Early run, the inside's going to really work around here, but you're going to start to see that groove right where you're seeing Jackson Bell right now. It's going to start to move up over the course of the run.
Yeah, early in the run when you've got fresh tires on, you're going to feel like Superman. You can run that low line down near the white solid line, but as the tires start to wear out, as the fuel starts to wear off, as these trucks start to get more ornery to drive later in the stint, you're going to see that line push up to the first set of dotted and then the second hash mark, to the point where, these guys are going to be rim riding the proverbial Larson line, if you will, before all is said and done, as Charles Wood's out on track right now in the U.S. U.S. Postal Service, number 40, bringing that one down to clock his first lap in 31.6. Good enough for 11th so far, but he's definitely got that thing honking right now as he's down on the good race line coming out of 2.
Yeah, not as good as Jackson Bell had it going, though, as he goes provisional pole on his second lap at a 31.21. Here is the 40 of Charles Woods. Fred Williams, Charles Woods, Ron Hollifield, Dalton England, Kyle McCartney all on track right now. Woods, personal best, so he will move up to 3rd. A very good qualifying attempt there, as Fred Williams actually bests him for that 3rd position in the number 95. Now we'll take a look at Dalton England, who's just gone purple in the first half of the lap. He's got that thing pinned down there on that bottom line. We'll see what England can do coming to the line. Could this be a pole on debut? It very much looks like it's going to be. Fastest of all at a 31.13. So the number 3 of Dalton England right now sitting atop the pylon. Ron Hollifield, Butch Davis, and Kyle McCartney all on track right now.
That's a honking lap around this place. Anytime you can get low 31s, it takes just about a miracle lap to go sub 31 around here in a truck. But anytime you can go low 31s like that, that's a honking lap, as Ron Hollifield goes 8th quick on his first lap. A little bit of a wiggle coming out of 2 for the driver of the Nuclear Banana number 2, is Jeff Hollingsworth coming out on track right now.
Yep, and Bentley Glazer coming out on track as well. Kyle McCartney completing his second lap in the number 18. He will jump up to 6th. Hollifield crossing the line now, and he will maintain that 9th position. Let's take a look at Butch Davis, who's going to be completing his first lap, running that middle lane in the STP number 43. And Davis will cross the line. First time for him will go 15th quick, second slowest of the drivers that have decided to take time. Still have a good 4 minutes left here in this session. Jeff Hollingsworth coming out of turns 3 and 4 on the outside line. About to set his first time, and Hollingsworth will go 17th quickest, so he is slowest of all on just this first lap, but that's outside line working there as Davis hugging that inside line on lap number 2. It looks like he will go up to P3, so a very good lap for Butch Davis as Hollingsworth heads through 3 and 4.
Well, if you took a look at Hollingsworth's first lap, he was running that high line all the way around the track to try to get this truck wound up. And it does take a little bit to do that as Hollingsworth P2.
Missed the pole by 2/100ths of a second there, as we'll take a look at Bentley Glazer, who has set the fastest time for the first half of the lap. We'll see what he could do on this second half. Remember, he set a 31.0 on in the practice session. He's going to do the same thing here, a 31.077, 87 to the top.
Well, make that currently, anyways. Make that 3 poles, or now 4 poles out of 5 races.
So take a look at Jeff Schmeier here, beginning his first lap. Here's Keith Hovde in the 84. Very familiar-looking truck for those of you at turn-of-the-century Jack Sprague fans.
I always loved that paint scheme.
Yep, I did too. As Hovde will go 20th quick, so he is slowest of all who have taken time. Jeffrey Schloss on track right now, 2 minutes to go. Here,
Schmeier blasted the wall on his first lap coming out of 2, so he just reset to the pit, so he's only going to have 1 shot at this.
And Schloss is going to stop prior to taking the white flag, so he will have another lap as well. Bob Beltrami on track, looking to take his first lap time. And we'll see what Beltrami can do with this first lap time, running it down on the inside. It looks like a 31.3. 31.269 for Beltrami, good enough for 8th on this first lap. Jeff Schmeier's just a little bit behind him, and that's a big wiggle there from Schmeier. And this is pretty much game over for Jeff Schmeier on this second lap as well.
And he's going to have to do the same thing that he had to do the last couple of weeks, and that's start deep in the field and work his way through. It's going to be a little more difficult here at Kansas, considering that this track is notorious for being a one-lane track. It was, when all said and done, as Schmeier goes 22nd quick in qualifying.
Schmeier second to slowest. As we take a look at Rob Gall, 14th on his first lap. We'll see what he can do here on his second attempt. Personal best looks like a 31.1. It will be, and Rob Gall up to 5th. So a very good lap for Gall.
Beltrami sitting 4th. So good laps for both those guys. And good news for Ryan Patty fans, his hauler has just rolled into the facility.
Rolled back in at least. As he was here for practice, didn't set a practice time, but he is here now for the race, and he will not qualify as qualifying comes to a close here from Kansas, and we will get you the starting lineup here in just a moment. Bentley Glazer will be the man that everyone's chasing once again, sitting on the pole at a 31.077. Dalton England in his series debut will sit alongside the reigning defending champion on the front row. Jeff Hollingsworth and Bob Beltrami will make up row 2 with Rob Gall and Jackson Bell in row 3. Butch Davis and Kevin Thrift will make up row number 4. Fred Williams and Charles Woods sit in row 5 with Kyle McCartney and Ryan Steele in row number 6. Paul Hoffman and Ron Hollifield will make up row 7 with Dennis Fuson and David Weaver making up row 8.
Brian Barnes and Earl Weaver going to roll off in. Sorry, David Woods and Brian Barnes going to roll off in row 9. Row 10 sees Earl Weaver and Scott Kukas. Rob Courtney and Jeff Schmeier going to roll off in row 11, with row 12 giving us Keith Hovde, who is the last person to actually post a time in qualifying, and the aforementioned Ryan Patty in the 30. Keith Kellman and Wayne Fleet going to see row 13. Row 14 brings us Barry Phil and Angelo Espo. Eric Woods and Jerry Sterner going to roll off in row 15, with row 16 going to Javier Torres and James Campbell. Dan Stussy and Jeffrey Schloss going to be starting shotgun on the field in row number 17. Earl McCulligan has withdrawn from the event.
So from 24th to 34th, all set up via iRating. Those are the drivers that did not set a time. We're waiting on Fred Williams right now to grid up before we can get rolling. You see the gap there in the 5th row on the inside line. And Tony, this is going to be quite a night that we are expecting here. 107 laps and a lot of green flag racing as the car is now rolling off of pit road to get this race going.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of green flag racing, as these guys always put on a good show no matter what track we go to. The biggest thing that they're going to have to be mindful of is that turn to wall right just before you get to the American Ethanol back straightaway here at Kansas. That's been Calamity Corner all night long so far. That's where everybody's had their problems on corner exit. You can see the tire marks just streaking down that white and green on the back straightaway on corner exit just before they get to the concrete. And the biggest thing is they're going to have to manage that right front tire, because it's very easy to just beat the hell out of it early on here tonight.
Absolutely, and that is going to be one of the many focal points here tonight as Bentley Glazer leads Dalton England and the rest of this 34 truck field down to the start line for the first time tonight. Getting set for round number 5 here of the Western States Racing League. 107 laps, we're green.
Glazer pulls the trigger and he brings England with him. They get single file up towards the front, but the battle right now is mid-pack as Davis and Bell just throwing haymakers at each other on lap 1.
Kevin Thrift there as well in the number 33 on the outside of Kyle McCartney. This all a battle for the 6th position right here as Rob Gall in the 31 up there as well. Glazer a little bit higher coming off of turn 4. He will lead the lap. Dalton England not far behind at all in that number 2 truck.
Absolutely. I mean, the series debutante is stuck between a rock and a hard place as he's got 2 OGR veterans, one in front of him, one behind him, as it's Glazer, England, Hollingsworth right now, with multi-time series champion Bob Beltrami stalking Jeff Hollingsworth. But this battle rages on in the mid-pack as McCartney and Bell just going at it.
We're riding on board with Kevin Thrift right now as he is on that outside line, running what would be the preferred line here tonight. As Bell has gotten a little bit of a nose out in front of McCartney. Here at this point, McCartney still has not quite allowed him to clear just yet. And now just ahead of them, Butch Davis going for position on Rob Gall in the 31.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys in the mid-pack are kind of mixing it up right now, trying to make the headway while they've got the fresh tires. but they've got to be careful that they don't burn the goodie off that right side tire too early. And it's kind of surprising to see Kyle McCartney running as low as he is right now. The lose the battle, win the war kind of thing, where you would think he would kind of let Bell go just a little bit, get up onto that high line, and be the Kyle McCartney that we've seen all season long, where as the run wears on, he hasn't punished those right side tires as badly as everybody else, and that was almost 3 wide.
Yeah, Jackson Bell getting a very good run coming out of turn 4, couldn't quite sustain it, and then going through turns 1 and 2 got chopped off a little bit by the 31, but you could tell already that the outside line, the middle to outside line, is going to be where you want to be here in tonight's race to get those runs and be able to make those passes. And also the tire wear being a major factor as well, is just a little bit behind these guys. The 12 of Ryan Steele getting put under some serious pressure from Paul Hoffman and Ron Hollifield in the sister Pennzoil machine.
Yeah, absolutely. Is Hollifield trying to make some headway. Didn't have the qualifying attempt he was hoping for. I'm still watching this battle for 6th as McCartney looking to get a twofer as he gets a great run off of 4 and pulls alongside of Gall as they haul it off into turn number 1.
And there he is riding off the back of Rod Gall right now in the number 31. See Jackson Bell right behind, right to the inside of him. Wow, really close there. Coming off of turn number 2 and still close as they head down the back straightaway, trying to avoid falling back a little bit too much as Bell able to make that inside line work. And we're still in that part of the run where the inside line is going to be favorable if you have not been pushing the car too hard. But again, as the run goes on, the groove is going to move up.
Well, there was problems coming out of 2 on that last lap as Hoffman had to jam on the binders to stay off of Steele, and unfortunately Hollifield, nowhere to go, just blast him with a chrome horn coming off of 2. There's a huge divot out of the back of Hoffman's Budweiser number 29 and a huge divot out of the front Hollyfield's Pennzoil number 2.
You can see the damage on both trucks there as we've highlighted. Also, Ryan Patty is starting to move his way up. He's to the inside of former series champion Brian Barnes right now in a battle for what is the 17th position. But Barnes, with a very good run on Hollifield, just cannot quite get to the outside coming off these corners, as now both the 4 and the 30 battling side by side, moving up the racetrack as the run goes on. Jeff Schmeier there as well in the 22.
Yeah, absolutely. As you've got 4 strong trucks right there just slugging it out. We've seen Holyfield towards the front of this field. Patty almost gets into the side of Schmeier in the middle of 1 and 2. That could have been disastrous. And the thing to consider, too, these guys only have 1 fast repair in their pocket tonight and only 4 sets of tires to make 107 laps. So these guys are going to be screaming for tires before they're screaming for fuel. I can guarantee you that.
There was a big moment there that Ryan Patty had coming through turns 1 and 2 that last time around. And you can just see how much higher he's running as compared to everybody else in front of him. The 4, the 22, and the 30 all making headway towards the front. All of them running that outside line as the 4 gets cut off by David Weaver in the 16. That's going to slow up the outside line. Green flag stays out, as they're both still bumping and nudging as this back group catches up to them. They both clear out of the way. But, Tony, I think I heard you mumble somehow not a caution.
Trying to figure out how that wasn't a caution, because those guys were so far off the pace that was a danger.
That really was. As riding just behind it. I'll try to get a look at it here in just a second. As we'll take a look now. Here is the 4 of Barnes and the 16 of David Weaver. And Weaver just, it looked as though Weaver thought he was clear, went up, and just wasn't. And these guys are on each other for quite some time.
I mean, Weaver can't say that he didn't know Barnes was in the area. I mean, it's one of those deals where you've really got to listen to your spotter, especially at a track like Kansas. You can't just, drive it willy-nilly. You've got to pay attention to what your spotter tells you is going on, or else you get situations like that, and you just ruin both those guys' night.
There was Weaver in pit road there, and Barnes with a lot of damage on that number 4 Popsicle Chevrolet. As we take a look up at the front of the field, Bentley Glazer currently holding a 1-second lead over teammate Jeff Hollingsworth. Dalton England just behind him in the number 3 and 3rd. Bob Beltrami sitting in 4th position with Butch Davis up there as well in the top 5. Kyle McCartney has broken clear of the rest of his group. Jackson Bell coming along with him. Charles Woods doing the same. These guys actually starting to chase down that group ahead of them to the tune of about a 10.5 a lap.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you get back to the battle for one of the last spots in the top 10. You got Rob Gall in 9th. Kevin Thrift already up to 10th as he's bringing Ryan Steele, Paul Hoffman, Dennis Fuson, Schmeier, and David Woods with him.
That was a big setback as you see there in the background. There's Fuson trying to hold both Schmeier and Wood behind him. Wood in the 35 tonight. We're seeing him in the number 27. As all of these guys starting to get a little tail happy. As Fuson holding that position on the inside line, but it's getting to the point now where the outside line is going to show dominance. And you can see Jeff Schmeier has already left that pair by a half a second this lap and is already right in the thick of the group ahead of him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is one of those tracks where you've got to be mindful of how you're trying to roll back on the power on corner exit, especially off of 2. Boom! Big movement. I think it was Hoffman. No, it wasn't. It was Weaver.
Riding on board with
Wood. Sorry.
No, you're
I'll make up my mind sooner or later.
We were riding
David
on board
Wood
there with Schmeier. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, David Wood had a big moment off of 2. That was one of those first you say it, then you do it kind of moments. As there's 3 wide in front of him. Schmeier kept his foot in it, and luckily Hoffman kind of backed out of it because he saw what was going on. That was a bad situation with Steele, Schmeier, and Hoffman going 3 wide going out of 2.
Schmeier drove right around both of them on the outside line, about to do the same thing with Rob Gall, as that number 22, even though he's been fighting and he's been in the back of the field, has been having a very good run and appears to have conserved those tires quite a bit, running very nicely on that outside line as they're 4 abreast behind him. That's Rob Gall's, Ryan Steele, Paul Hoffman's in there. That's the 16 of David Weaver, who has fresh tires after that incident with the 4 of Brian Barnes. Jerry Sterner has also been in the number 39. I believe he might be done for the evening, is Sterner, as we see this battle here just outside the top 10 now.
Yeah, absolutely. Is Gall and Steele going hammer and tongs as the 16 rolls by. Gall playing defense now as he has dropped the most positions of anyone so far that's still running. Yeah, Sterner has put it on the hauler, as has Stussy.
I think the 95 of Fred Williams did not start this race either, which is a shame, starting from the 9th position. Would have been nice to see him at least take the start here tonight, as we're seeing Dalton England, Jeff Hollingsworth, and Bob Beltrami all battling for the 2nd position right here. Nice little calm status quo right now for these top 3, actually starting to reel Bentley Glazer back in to the tune of about a half a tenth a lap. A little bit further behind, Butch Davis running solo right now, about a second and almost 2 seconds, pardon me, off the back end of Bob Beltrami, with Kyle McCartney hunting him down. McCartney has up and left Jackson Bell, who is now about to get blown right on by Jeff Schmeier, who has worked himself all the way back up from a starting spot in the mid-20s just drives right to the inside of Jackson Bell. Really don't think Bell is going to have too much to say about this. He does have that preferred line, which will help him out a little bit, as he's going to actually cut the nose of the 22 off going through the tri-oval, and he'll jump up to the outside. So he was able to break Schmeier's momentum a little bit, but Schmeier should be able to get around that 23 no problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Schmeier hasn't had the same fall off that Bell has had. And I mean, you saw Schmeier do it. He went the outside of Charles Woods and then immediately to the inside. He's got to be careful, though. He's got the 16 to his inside, and the 16 does have the fresher tires. As these guys, 24 laps in the books, 23 laps in the books, working lap 24 of 107. You got to think some of these guys are getting ready to do a green flag pit stop just with how much the tires have fallen off already. We're already a second and a half fall off from what these guys were doing on fresh tires.
Just saw on screen there for a moment a swap between second and third position. Dalton England up to second, Beltrami up to third, Hollingsworth down to fourth, as Schmeier now has gotten the front end to the outside of the 23 of Jackson Bell. And from here, it should be pretty academic. Bell drives it in hard, going into the corner and pushes right up into the 22. It's going to slow the 22 down significantly. He's going to fall all the way back to 11th.
Kind of figured that was coming from Bell, as he was on what we call on the dirt track, the slider line, where the only chance he had to defend at that point was to put Schmeier into the wall, and looks like 0 F's given for the driver of the 23.
And Schmeier now falling back into the clutches of Rob Gall, Paul Hoffman, Dennis Fuson here in this battle for what is now the 11th position, was 12th, is now 11th, as these three still running very close-knit together. And for Bell, I mean, it's still that early in the race. You know the 22 is a lot quicker. That's a little rash a move there from the 23 on the 22.
He's lucky he didn't get turned, because where they hit and how they hit, it would have been very easy for Jackson Bell to have to go to the backup truck, because, I mean, that just had bad intentions written all over it.
Similar to what we saw with the 4 and the 16 earlier on tonight, could have been that situation, as Rob Gall loses the 12th position to Dennis Fuson, who has a big old slide coming out of turn 4. Paul Hoffman's going to have the door left open for him on the inside, but Gall looking to challenge Fuson, can't quite get to the outside. But now Hoffman and Gall, Hoffman with a big run, but Gall's going to have the momentum coming out of 2.
Yeah, absolutely is. You can see that, Hoffman driving with his wits about him, trying to make sure that he stays off everybody, try to keep that truck as clean as he possibly can. And that's the MO of Paul Hoffman. You see the divot out of the tailgate of that truck. That was him trying to stay off someone earlier and getting run over from behind. So usually heads up driving for Hoffman. So that's why when he was pinched down there, he didn't just come up in front of somebody, because it would have ruined both their nights.
Jeff Schmeier on his recovery drive after that contact with Jackson Bell has gotten up to and has passed Ryan Steele for the 10th position. Kevin Thrift, the next car on his list, in the number 33 Pennzoil machine. Nothing much has changed in the top 10. Kyle McCartney has gotten around Butch Davis for 5th. That is about it, as David Weaver starting to work his way up through the top drivers, again with Weaver having come into pit on lap 12 after the contact between himself and the number 4. Keith Kellman in a nice little battle, as Barry Phil has caught the wall somewhere in that number 99 Mobile One Toyota. Take a look and
cheese
see
grated
what
to the right side of that truck. And it looks like Dave England has also gotten around Bob Beltrami, as the two of them really stretching their legs over Jeff Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth has gotten into the wall somewhere. That's the only way that I can justify what's happened to the 97, as he's 4 seconds and falling back into the clutches of Butch Davis and Kyle McCartney. That battle for fourth, hot and heavy right now.
We're waiting here on the incident between the 90 for the 99 here, as it looks like he just pushed up and hard into the outside wall in turn 2. And Tony, that's where you said to watch out for here tonight would be that turn number 4. As we'll take a look at Ryan Patty working his way back forward. Now he fell way back after that incident with the 4 and the 16. He is only in the 19th position right now, passing Eric Woods for that position, so a lot lower. That incident certainly has slowed that number 33 down. It also looks like he's been in the wall.
Yeah, absolutely is. The thing to keep in mind here about Kansas, turns 1 and 2 are a decreasing radius corner, and turns 3 and 4 are an increasing radius corner for those of you who are road racers. So you can carry more speed on the exit of turn 4 than you can on the exit of 2. So you kind of have to tiptoe as you're laying the power back in 1 and 2, more so than you do in 3 and 4, because you don't have the trioval portion of the track as that buffer or cushion, if you will, as McCartney has gotten around Davis for 5th.
Kyle McCartney actually being caught back up by Butch Davis possibly, as Davis has really turned it back on here in the number 43 STP Chevrolet, trying to catch now Jeff Hollingsworth. Both of them are. Dalton England still trying to stay ahead of Bob Beltrami as they work around David Weaver, in the 16. Kevin Thrift now battling side by side with the 22 of Jeff Schmeier. Now the pair of these two, Schmeier and Thrift, have both gotten around Jackson Bell, who sits right behind them in the 23 right now. Schmeier still trying to work his way forward as pit stops loom nearer and nearer.
Yeah, absolutely. We got 35 laps in the books now, and I can guarantee you every one of these drivers is screaming at their crew chief, give me 4 in fuel. As just take a look at your best lap times for Bentley Glazer. 31.137, and that's not even the fastest lap of the race. The current fast lap of the race goes to his teammate, Jeff Hollingsworth, who's sitting in 4th with a 31.113. Hollingsworth last lap, 32.971. So we're almost 2 full seconds, as far as tire fall off, and they're working they're coming up on 40 laps on these tires.
Still watching this battle here between Kevin Thrift, Jeff Schmeier, and Jackson Bell, as Dalton England and Bob Beltrami both coming in here on lap number 38.
Schmeier.
Yep, Schmeier coming in as well. I mean, that was a big tank slapper there for the 22. The 29 of Hoffman has also been in. 2 trying to find his pit box. A little bit of a wiggle there from him. Ryan Patty in, Eric Woods in. Pit stop's coming a little bit earlier, honestly, than I had anticipated them coming.
Schmeier might be in trouble.
Hollingsworth.
Oh, no, they let him get away with it.
Yeah. Hollingsworth in, Jackson Bell in. 97.23, both coming in. Schmeier, Patty, Woods. Beltrami has jumped Dalton England in the pit cycle. So Bob Beltrami should come out effective 2nd position here. Take a look and see what Bentley Glazer decides to do. He decides to stay out. Kyle McCartney decides to stay out as well, and I have a feeling that McCartney is going to try to stick it out the distance of Glazer +1 to try to get that lap led as Kevin Thrift comes in, Gall comes in, Hovde comes
18
in.
into the wall.
18 of McCartney. Yep, he's lost that position now to Butch Davis as well. About to lose another one to the 40 of Charles Woods. You can see the damage on the left rear corner of the number 18 as Bentley Glazer comes into pit road.
Yeah, McCartney has completely cheese grated the right side of that Toyota Tundra as Glazer comes in. Davis inheriting the lead of the race, so all-important bonus point for the 43. Charles Woods currently sitting in second as McCartney look for him to come in this time as here comes a hard-charging Bob Beltrami, and that could be your effective race lead right there.
If not, it'll certainly be very, very close as the top three all decide to stay out as there's the three of Dalton England. Boy, 3 wide going into turn 1 with Kyle McCartney on the inside on old tires. Advantage Dalton England.
England just full send it mode going through 1 as there's Glazer coming out behind this battle. So he's got some track position to try to make up now as Davis and McCartney both electing to stay out again.
Charles Woods deciding, however, to come in, and that all comes down to the undercut here at Kansas Speedway. Dalton England, 46.25 seconds from cone to cone. Bob Beltrami, 45.23 seconds from cone to cone on pit road. Bentley Glazer, 44.98 seconds from cone to cone. So Glazer clearly the faster of the three, but the undercut and being out a couple laps longer on those older tires is what's put him back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just take a look at Butch Davis's last lap time compared to his best lap time. 31.263, his last lap. Davis into the wall.
No, that was the 29 that had gotten into the wall behind him and gave him a little bit of a nudge as I think Butch is coming in now. Nope, just getting down and out of the way of the 29 who is on fresh tires, and they're both in the wall this time. And that's hard contact between the 29 and the 43, your race leader.
Jeepers.
That's a hard hit.
Eesh.
For both of those guys, and we'll try to see. Hopefully we don't go back too far here. Here they come off of 4.
That's a goodies headache moment.
It's net code, but it's also the 29 coming down and swinging down off of turn 4. As now Butch Davis will have to come into pit road. Here he comes. Kyle McCartney doing the same. That leaves the race lead to Ryan Steele in the 12. This is the 023 of Jeffrey Schloss coming out of pit road in between those two. And you can see the smoke pouring out the back of the 29 of Paul Hoffman as Hoffman on fresh tires. Trying to battle with the race leader, and unfortunately it was net code. But that was also a little bit of close racing there for the 29s. He's just going to take his fast repair and go.
As you would do in a situation like that. But bad news for Hoffman. He's now 4 laps down.
It is unfortunate. We're looking at the effective race leader here at the moment. Bentley Glazer has gotten up to and around Bob Beltrami as Ryan Steele now comes into pit road as Glazer trying to take every advantage in the book that he can, trying to draft off of that number 16. Still no caution here as we're almost at the 50-lap mark of tonight's race. Rob Courtney coming in the lap prior from the 3rd position. As Dalton England now officially takes over the race lead in his debut here for the series. And he has been incredible all night long. May not quite have the pace of Bentley Glazer, but certainly has a very good truck under it tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, very strong showing for the debutante right now. And I just noticed the paint scheme on the 85. I actually like that. Eric Woods driving the Woody.
As he typically does. As now here comes the 87 of Bentley Glazer under Dalton England, and Glazer right now, it's not clear, but he is heading the field at the moment.
He's got the clear now.
Yeah, yes, he certainly does. He'll slide up in front of Dalton England. And these two now lead Bob Beltrami by a full second. Beltrami, these three have broken away to the tune of about 4.5 seconds ahead of this man in the number 97. Jeff Schmeier about 4.5 seconds beyond Jeff Hollingsworth. Schmeier did take his fast repair under that pit stop. Kevin Thrift not that far behind. Jackson Bell about a second behind Thrift. Rob Gall currently sitting in 8th position out of the pit cycle. Charles Woods in 9th with Dennis Fuson running in the 10th position. And that contact plus the longer time on the tires forced Butch Davis all the way back into 13th. So the first round of pit cycle is over, and my night in the broadcast booth is over. Ben Bruno will be back to take over with Tony right on the other side of this break. Do not go anywhere. You're watching round number 5 of the Western States Racing League from the Kansas Speedway. Bentley Glazer in the lead. We'll be back right after this.
And we are back with the Western States Racing League from Kansas. Round number 5 as caution number 1 comes out. A little bit of trouble for the 23 of Jackson Bell. Just decided to give up the ghost coming out of turn 2, as I believe we've got that queued up in the truck right now. As it just pulls down to the apron, apparently didn't get far enough down before he hit the eject button on that truck. No, apparently he hit the wall. But we've got wholesale pit stops, so it looks like everybody on the lead lap is going to be back on the same pit cycle. Ryan Patty getting the free pass, it looks like. Nope, Eric Woods in the 85. So currently sitting with 16 trucks on the lead lap. Looks like Ron Hollyfield, James Campbell, Rob Courtney, Keith Kelman, Angelo Espo, Brian Barnes flirting with another, getting back into the top 20 as we saw him have problems earlier. Butch Davis getting back into the top 15 after we saw him have a huge issue earlier. And big shocker, Bentley Glazer winning the battle off pit road. So the 85 just continuing to roll here in round number, the 87 continuing to roll here in round number 5 of the Western States Racing League. But series debutant Dalton England just doing nothing but impressing me here tonight. He had one of the fastest laps in the hot lap session, sat outside row number 1 for the start of this race, sat on the pole for quite a bit of time. And he's slugging it out right now between two series champions. Defending series champion Bentley Glazer currently showing the way. And then got Bob Beltrami in the Beltrami Salami, number 14, going to be restarting in third. You got Jeff Hollingsworth up there as well. And again, I said series debutant, but I'm looking at his I rating. The kid's got a 5,000 I rating, which, if anybody knows about iRacing, that generally means that he's passed more trucks than he gets passed by in official series stuff. So not a big shocker as you take a look at the aggregate of the top 5 and you're north of 4,500 for an I rating between Glazer, England, Beltrami, Hollingsworth, and Steele. It looks like lights getting ready to go out on the pace truck here, just waiting on wave arounds as we had a handful of cars or trucks stay out. We now have 23 trucks left on the lead lap as there go all the wave arounds. And good news for Brian Barnes fans, he is now back on the lead lap. Bad news, though, he has already burned his fast repair as the field's starting to form up too wide behind the Chevy Silverado pace truck, official pace truck of iRacing. And Ben, are you with us yet?
I am finally back. It took me a while to make my way up the stairs to the booth there tonight, but I was able to watch a good portion of the first half of this race. Tremendous job by you and Frank in the booth, as always, and now in the production truck. So thank you, Frank, for filling in for me as the 87 of Bentley Glazer leading the field back to green, followed by the 2 of Dalton England. As Frank talked about, so impressive, that I rating so high, things that guys wish they had. The 87 going to be the first to the loud pedal here to lead the field behind the pace truck.
Pace truck makes that hard left turn onto pit road. Glazer holds him down just a little bit. And a little bit of tire spin out of the 3 of England. Sorry, the Deuce of England. It has the number 3 transponder in that GMS truck tonight. So, again, I preach this every week that we see this. Tech officials, please don't drink before you hand out the transponders.
And things getting pretty aggressive. We see Hollingsworth and England both preferring the top, like a half a group higher than our leader of Bentley Glazer right now, trying to make that line work well for him. And Jeff Schmeier,
I don't think he had a choice.
Had to come down pit road as the 2 of England just relentless on the tailgate of that 87 Gatorade truck.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going back to take a look at what happened with Schmeier. They were 3 wide behind him coming through 3 and 4, and looks like speeding off. Yep. Speeding off under that last set of green flag pit stops as somebody went through a hell of a ride. That was the 27 of Javier Torres having a big moment coming out of 4 as it's like he had, yep, Javier caught the Spanish Archer off of the 023, the old elbow into turn number 4, and completely cheese grated the right side of that 27 as they kind of got it sorted out right now up towards the front of this field. Glazer showing the way, England sitting in second, Beltrami in third. The battle right now is right around the 5th position as Patty working the backside of Kevin, he's working the backside of the 31 of Rob Gall. My timing and scoring is all screwed up.
And I mean, right now, I just can't take my eyes off this battle for the lead as Dalton is absolutely giving Bentley everything that he can handle. We'll see how that plays out on these long runs. As we saw early on in this race, on these long green flag runs, this tire fall off being so aggressive and Dalton really forcing the pace of the 87 of Bentley Glazer so far. And there was another battle that went on for several laps between Bob Beltrami and Jeff Hollingsworth. See how that plays out for them as Schmeier just off a pit road in between them and the 30 of Ryan Patty. And then a whole pack of cars looking to get the best track position possible.
Absolutely, and a great recovery drive for the 43 of Butch Davis as he's working the inside of Dennis Fuson. Fuson's going to cross him over down the American Ethanol back straightaway. Side by side, they're hauling it off into turn number 3, drag race, as Ryan Patty brushes the wall going into 3.
An absolute battle back there. We also see some lap cars there with Ron Holyfield, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sorry, that might not be. That's Kevin Thrift. I apologize. Battling it out still with Ryan Patty. Butch Davis able to hold off the 11 of Dennis Fuson, and that did not pay off for Fuson as Kyle McCartney now using that middle line advantage in the 18 truck. And glad to see Rob Gall inside of the top 10 as he looks to get another podium finish here this year, as he is not so far this season.
Yeah, absolutely. As good recovery drive for the 18 of McCarthy, as we saw during that green flag run, right towards the end of it, just before he had to bring it down pit road, cut a tire down and just blasted the turn 2 wall. And Butch Davis, we saw have an issue with a lap truck from the lead. So good recovery drive for Davis in the 43, as Davis working the inside of Patty and coming across the stripe there to put 67 laps in the books. And Ben, we're getting to that point where you've worn the goodie off the tire. Oh, and there it goes.
Patty able to skate out of it.
Davis not so lucky as he just noses it into that inside safer barrier.
Just maybe, spotter wasn't talking too much. Took a look at the mirror, thought he was clear there. Looked like there was some contact, maybe not.
It's one of those deals where Davis made the move, the spotter called him clear, but Patty had such a run on that outside lane that by the time Davis was able to move up the to try to close the door and take all of Patty's momentum away, Patty was already there. And Butch doesn't run a live spotter during racing, so he's going off what the simulator is telling him, and unfortunately they had a meeting of the minds of the worst kind, as we now have caution number 2 underway.
And a lot of takers to pit road. The 30 of Ryan Patty, who was involved there, going to come. Jeff Hollingsworth also going to come. Dalton England and Bentley Glazer also coming down pit road. See if any of these strategies differ at all. I'd assume not.
Well, I can pretty much guarantee you're not going to see anybody only try to take two, only because this truck has just been ornery on
No tires
four
for
tires.
Glazer. No
No tires
tires
for
for Glazer.
no tires for Glazer, no tires for Beltrami, no tires for Ryan Patty, as the three of them able to get out in front of series debutant Dalton England. England 4 in fuel. Looks like Rob Gall may be trying a two-tire strategy, though. And unfortunately, I think the 33 may have just shot himself in the foot as everybody behind him took 4 in fuel.
Yeah, and Jeff Hollingsworth, another one of those guys that had 4 in fuel there on that stop. So I'm going to continue to look to build on last week's progress in a continued effort to put his name in this hat with Bentley and Kyle in this points race currently. See how that plays out for him here as these guys are going to lose some track position, but those tires are going to pay off big time. We've seen that so far.
And Kevin Thrift stayed out to get that all-important bonus point. And good news for, good news for Rob Schmeier fans. He's now only 1 lap down, as he has Schmeier now only 1 lap down in the 22, as he also has Jeff Schloss right behind him and the 29 of Paul Hoffman. So next race for the Lucky Dog should be a race between Schmeier and Hoffman and David Weaver, as Weaver under that last Barry Phil under that last one got his 1 lap back. So the 99, after cheese gratering the right side of that Toyota Tundra, back on the lead lap. So good to see Barry Phil. That gives us 23 trucks on the lead lap, as looks like we might be going lights out on the pace truck this time by, Ben.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's been some guys have had all the luck this season, some guys haven't. Jeff Schmeier, one of those guys that always has a lot of speed in the 22 truck, just has not been able to get it done yet. And as we saw Butch Davis getting collected in that one there, that he hasn't had much luck and has been very impressive so far this season, and maybe an early retiree, as indeed he is going to retire early on here on lap number
72.
72. Thank you.
The thing is, as far as the 22 goes with Jeff Schmeier, if he could ever have a qualifying attempt where he doesn't step on his own junk and only get 1 shot at qualifying, I think Schmeier could run away with a race with how well he works his way through traffic. If he could ever start towards the front, not even on pole, just top 10, he's got a legitimate shot at winning an event.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Ben, bring us back.
The 87 of Bentley Glazer, the 14 of Bob Beltrami, heading down into turn number 4. The pace truck will make a hard left, and some cars getting a little anxious. Bentley Glazer slow and steady to the loud pedal as he brings the field back to green in a good jump.
Absolutely. That was the deuce of Dave England trying to make something happen. Almost got into the back of Bob Beltrami, as England looking to make it 3 wide, as Patty and Beltrami side by side right now, and England just weaving his way through traffic. That's what fresh tires looks like, folks, as he's bringing Hollingsworth with him in the 97.
Absolutely. Those fresher tires really paying off, as the 97 of Jeff Hollingsworth able to make his way around the 30 of Ryan Patty. Bob Beltrami also kind of bolted to the track as we see this battle back at the front, heating up again. The 2 of Dalton England to the inside of Bentley Glazer with a big run. He's going to take the lead away from the 87 of Bentley Glazer. What a move.
Now, here's the thing. Dalton England and Jeff Hollingsworth are both hoping that this thing stays green. Glazer and Beltrami and Ryan Patty all have one and more set of tires in their pocket. Everybody else, they've already burned through them all. So when it boils down to it, if we get a late race caution, Glazer, Beltrami, and Patty could be in the catbird seat. Is now Dennis Fuson looking to throw his hat in the ring to get into a top 5 position, as Ryan Steele working on Rob Gall for the number 7 slot.
Absolutely. It's one of those things that we talk about every week. Managing those tires. Is the 30 of Patty going to throw a block at the 11 of Fuson in the front stretch? He's going to continue to follow on. Ryan Steele with a big run. He's going to try to throw his hat in there. Rob Gall going to hop on that train on the bottom as well, as a very dominant line with these fresher tires on the bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something we saw early in the race, too, that on fresh tire. Contact! Ooh, jeez. It was Jeffrey Schloss getting into Ryan Patty, coming through, or going into 3. And Schloss is on the oldest tires on track right now. And because he's had to stay out to try to get some laps back under these cautions. And, I mean, just everybody is so much faster than him right now because he's got, second oldest tires. The oldest tires belong to Paul Hoffman in the 29. So that could have been disastrous for Ryan Patty. As it is, it knocked him out of the top 5, as Beltrami back to 8th as well.
Absolutely. And Jeff Hollingsworth able to make his way around his teammate Bentley Glazer, and now he's got his eyes set on the 2 of Dalton. And things going to get interesting here up front within a couple of laps. Taking a look at the lap times between these two right now, things starting to get interesting. In the top 5, Rob Gall trying to make his way back up to the 11 of Fuson and get into the top 5. Ryan Steele now going to work on Bentley Glazer.
And again, that's fresher tires. Steele has only 9 laps on his skins. Bentley Glazer has 19 on his. But should we get a caution in the next handful of laps, again, my nod's got to go to Beltrami, Patty, and Glazer, because they have that last set of tires still in their pockets. Everybody else, they're done. And Beltrami into the wall before.
And a lot of damage to the right front of that truck with that contact. Looked like he just got a little bit tight. Patty now flirting with the wall a little bit. Is maybe even a little bit of contact, as we see Keith Hovde now battling with Brian Barnes. Brian Barnes with that better drive off the bottom. The 35 of David Wood also going to make his way around, as there's a little bit of damage to the spoiler of the 84 now.
And great recovery drive for Barnes, as we saw him have some issues earlier on, and he got into it with the 16 early in the race. So great recovery drive for the driver of the Popsicles, number 24 Chevy Silverado. And David Woods, we saw him cheese grater the right side of that truck early in the race. Had to chase it off of 2 a couple of times. So Woods seems to have found the handle, as Patty still continuing his backslide. Is now Bentley Glazer has fallen outside of the top 5. First time all night we have seen Glazer, other than during that green flag pit cycle. This is the first time we've seen Glazer outside of the top 5.
Absolutely. He's been running a really dominant race so far, as the battle up front really starting to heat up. The 97 of Hollingsworth able to get within a truck length of the leader in Dalton England, as they make their way across the flag stand. England going to be able to hold on to it for the time being, but it seems like Hollingsworth might have a little something left in those goodies to get something done here on the 2. Should we stay green, it's going to get very interesting. See if some of these guys gamble on a green flag stop.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm taking a look at, the skill level of the top 3 right now. David England, I rating 51.59. Jeff Hollingsworth, I rating 46.79. And Ryan Steele, 48.44. So you're talking almost a 4,800 I rating average between the three of those guys, as they are really starting to stretch their legs over the 31 of Rob Gall. It looks like two tires not being as detrimental as we thought they would be for the 31.
Absolutely. It's not very often that we see somebody take a very big, strategy change per the usual of what we've seen or come accustomed to with the Western States
Caution.
Racing League. Caution is out. Did not.
Oh.
Ryan Patty.
16 of David Weaver involved in that one somehow.
Replay.
Oh, yeah. No, that started with Patty. Oy. Got into it with a 67 of Rob Courtney, as 99 was working to his inside, and just they almost went three wide coming off four. Patty slid up the track. Rob Courtney absolutely nowhere to go, gets pinched into the wall, and around goes Patty. Luckily, he does have his fast repair in his pocket, so look for Patty to take that final set of tires. And this is what I was talking about, Ben. Glazer, Patty, and Bob Beltrami all can put that final set of tires on right now and make the headway against everybody that's going to be around them, as everybody else 17 laps, 17 laps, 17 laps, 18 laps, 16 laps, 18 laps, as far as tire wear. So, these guys are going to have the advantage. Now, they're definitely going to be able to make it from here. It might be a little tight on fuel for Hollingsworth, England, and Fusan, but the guys that are coming down pit road right now can definitely make it on here for fuel. And apparently Patty did not have his fast repair left, as he has just spent over a minute on pit road.
I thought that I seen that maybe he popped it, but correct me if I'm wrong. I think sometimes you run into a problem where that fast repair doesn't fix your motor problem. I could be wrong. But
No, he's not. He drove on the pit road. No, Weaver's towing. Patty drove on the pit road. Weaver's towing. Weaver hand grenaded the engine because he just pile drove the side of, I think it was Patty, as Patty was spinning down the track. So Dalton England going to have the button when we go back to green. Jeff Hollingsworth staying out with him. Dennis Fusan, David Wood, Eric Woods, Kevin Thrift, and Barry Phil all staying out. Kevin Hovde in the 84, Rob Gall, Ryan Steele rounding out your top 10. Now, Hovde, fuel only. Gall looks like he took his other two tires and filled it with fuel. Ryan Steele took 4. Bentley Glazer took 4. Brian Barnes was able to take 4. Kyle McCartney took his final set of tires, as did Bob Beltrami, and Scott Kukas as well. So that's your top 15. And basically from Ryan Steele back, that's where the fresh rubber is. So Ryan Steele in the number 10 slot has Bentley Glazer there with him. Glazer, we've seen all night, has been very, very strong on fresh tires.
absolutely. And if you look at that lineup of where's Kyle McCartney, he's right there with Bentley Glazer on those fresher tires. So we're going to see, probably a pretty hard charge from these guys up through the field. It's just going to be about how they navigate through these guys that are on these older tires, is who's really going to have the advantage, and does
Yeah, absolutely. Is Ryan Patty
duties to
has
get it done.
decided, and Ryan Patty has decided to put it on the hauler as lights go out on the Chevy Silverado pace truck. Dalton England going to have the button. He's got a very hungry Jeff Hollingsworth, who's been a bridesmaid numerous times this season already, has not gotten that breakthrough win. Dennis Fuson, very hungry. David Wood, very hungry. Eric Woods, extremely hungry in that 85. This is one of the best runs that we've seen out of Eric Woods in a while. Barry Phil, great recovery drive. And same for the 84 of Hoovdy. As the field working its way through the 3-4 complex, we're getting ready to restart on lap 90 of 107 here at the Kansas Speedway. You are watching the Western States Racing League Truck Series on Tuesday nights. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, share, turn on bell notifications if you like the action you're seeing. You don't want to miss a single moment of action on track. And don't forget to drop a comment and give us a thumbs up. That really helps with the algorithm. As the green flag comes back out, England pulls the trigger. Hollingsworth trying to stay with him on that high line, as those guys have some older tires, and already fresher tires starting to make some headway.
Absolutely. Taking a look back there, they're really starting to get riled up as the 18 of McCartney to the tailgate of the 87 of Glazer, as they're going to come into a pack of cars on older tires. Bob Beltrami leading the charge of fresher tires right now. So a big move, and very loose coming out of turn number 4. Didn't quite catch who it was as all this action going down. And Beltrami right now, the benefactor.
Now it's Javier Torres going for a ride coming off of 4, as right now Ryan Steele leading the charge on the fresh tires, as he's working to the inside of Fuson and bringing the 33 of Thrift with him. Now Steele working to the inside of Hollingsworth for second. Steele on a charge right now in the 12.
Absolutely, and these guys not going to give it up easy. See if they can save enough tire to hold off these fresher tires is going to be a tough task, as we see the 97 of Hollingsworth really starting to lose some ground, and the 12 of Ryan Steele is coming for the 2 of England, and he is going to take the lead position away from the 2 truck. Ryan Steele out of a cannon off the restart.
As the free emblem number 12 Chevy Silverado takes it to the point. Hollingsworth under heavy pressure from Fuson in the 11 right now. And then there's an angry pack of wolves behind the 2 of them. David Woods getting by Beltrami. Woods a little bit sideways. And don't look now, but here comes the 18 of McCartney and the 87 of Glazer. 3 wide going into 3.
What a battle. Kyle McCartney has been a wizard in traffic so far, but this time gets bottled up with those older tire cars. The 87 of Glazer able to get by, and now going to work on Beltrami as he shows his nose to the inside, heading down into turn number 1, and they are making their way towards the 97 of Jeff Hollingsworth.
Absolutely, as Beltrami working the inside of Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth may have gone too hard too soon on those tires that he's currently on. His last set as 24 laps compared to 7 laps for Beltrami, 7 laps for Glazer, and 7 laps for McCartney, as Ryan Steele really starting to stretch his legs over the deuce of Dalton England, as England now under heavy pressure from the 14 of Beltrami.
And the 87 of Glazer as well. Oh, and a big move in the backstretch, the 14 of Beltrami taking maneuver to not get into the wall. That's going to allow himself and the 87 of Bentley Glazer to get around the 2 of England, with the 18 of Kyle McCartney, as England's tires just not able to last the distance. Gotcha. And the yellow is out.
And it looks like Javier Torres in the 27 going for a ride through the grass. Possibly he had some help on that one. And it looks like Kukas. Yep, Kukas in the 24. Oh, my Lanta. Yeah, Kukas got into the wall coming off of 4 and slid down the track, and unfortunately, Torres absolutely nowhere to go. Just pile drove the 24 there. So that brings out caution number 3 of the night, and good grief.
Yeah, that's not what Ryan Steele wanted to see. And talking about things that I wish I could see, I wish I could see the replays. Seems like every time you guys got it, I can't grab it. But
I was only able to catch the
unfortunately,
tail end.
mine always just does not love me. I wish it did.
So Ryan Steele getting ready to start kicking puppies right now as yeah, yes, he has fresher tire. He's on the same tire strategy as Beltrami, Glazer, and McCartney. Another one that's probably ready to start screaming is Dalton England in the deuce, as Brian Barnes has 17 lap fresher tires, and I mean, we've seen it all night. The fresh tires are what you need. Is we are 10 laps to go right now, and there goes the 29 to get one of his laps back. And I mean, Ben, who do you have? Because you've got a very strong Ryan Steele, you got a very strong Bob Beltrami trying to hold off a very strong Bentley Glazer and a very strong Kyle McCartney. Place your bets.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it on the head. I mean, these 3 guys just are really making way. They did make way all the way through the field already in quite no time at all. So I mean, like I said, if you're Ryan Steele, I gotta think it's not what you want to see. I mean, he was out in front of Dalton. He's pushing really hard, hoping that he could get out to enough of a lead to sign the signature on the note on this one. And unfortunately, that's not how he's going to get it. So he's going to have to work hard for it. With all 3 of these guys being as fast as they are, it's impressive. I mean, we get used to it, but if you're watching at home, I mean, the level of talent. I mean, Tony keeps talking about the I ratings, but I mean, just watch it. Watch every week. Go back, watch last week. I mean, these guys put on an absolute show every week, and that's exactly what we're about to get here for these last 9 laps or 8 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact still remains, these guys have done this for 45 seasons. This series right here is the oldest continuously active series on the iRacing servers as far as private leagues go. And yes, they started way before iRacing even existed, but they saw the possibilities of what you can do with the iRacing server, and they could have gone to any other simulator out there. They're here bringing this action to you tonight.
Absolutely. We make our way around, should be lights out next time.
Lights
and
out
it
now.
will be, as Ryan Steele out front of this field. Does he have enough to hold on? Did he push too hard after he got the lead here? But these guys pushing hard as well. Bob Beltrami in the 14, the 87 of Bentley Glazer, the 18 of Kyle McCartney. What a race, and we're about to watch it here on ESPN right now. Buckle up, grab your popcorn, get your soda. Tony, take it back to green for us here.
We are going to get a restart with 7 laps to go here at the Kansas Speedway, round 5 of season 45 for the Western States Racing League. And I mean, Ben, you just hit the nail on the head. Did Steele go too hard, trying to put as much distance between himself and Dalton England as he could? He had a 1.5-second lead when that caution came out. Beltrami and company had to try to reel him in if they were going to burn up their tires getting to him. Now, the big question is, why did Steele choose the inside lane on the restart? We're about to find out as he wastes absolutely no time jumping on the loud pedal. We are back underway. Glazer trying to get to the inside of Beltrami. Beltrami's got a little bit of help on that high line with Kyle McCartney. McCartney looking for a hole going into one.
Brian Barnes looking sharp as well in this pack of cars as the 87 and the 18 able to get to the inside of Beltrami. A big move from Brian Barnes to the top to go behind the 14 of Beltrami, and the 18 going to look to strike on the 87 of Bentley Glazer.
Now, as far as older tires go, and they've gotten to the point where they've probably worn most of the goodie off these tires, as they're going 3 wide going into turn 1. That's McCartney, the meat in the sandwich. Beltrami Salami's number 14 on the inside. Glazer getting stuck out on that high lane, not where he wanted to be. It's right now Steele doing everything he can to try to break the draft of these guys, but we've seen Kyle McCartney all season long be real strong as the tire wear starts to come into play.
Brian Barnes giving a little bit of help to the 14 of Beltrami, giving him a good push of momentum. Unable to get to the inside of the door of the 18 of Kyle McCartney as he's making a big move to the inside for the race lead on the 12 of Ryan Steele now coming into the backstretch. Not quite able to make it stick. It's a drag race down the backstretch. What a race we have as Beltrami looking to follow.
We are currently 5 laps to go. McCartney with a nose out front coming through the 3-4 complex. Steele trying to defend on that second lane. We've seen that strong all night long. Give the lap to McCartney as we are now 4 to go. As McCartney and Steele in lockstep right now. Glazer still working the outside of Barnes. They both have to get by Bob Beltrami if either one of them wants to get that final step of the podium. As right now, the top 2 of Steele and McCartney almost contact going into 3, and here comes Glazer to the inside.
Big move from the 87 of Glazer. Can he get a run to make this 3 wide in turn 1? It looks like they will block the run there. Is that air ever so important right now as they go 2 by 2? Bob Beltrami on the outside, the 87 of Glazer on the inside, the 18 repainting the door of the 12 of Ryan Steele lap after lap. This battle just rages on. This is anybody's race right now as we are coming in on 2 to go.
Absolutely. Can McCartney win his 3rd race of the season? Can Glazer get his 4th podium of the season? As we are about to find out. 2 to go. McCartney and Steele still side by side, beating and banging on each other as Beltrami, a little bit of slip up going through 2. That's going to let Glazer get the clear off of 2. Still, that battle for the lead, hot and heavy. Bring us home, Ben.
The 18 of McCartney with a good run on the bottom. It's going to be a photo finish, a drag race to the line. Who's it going to be?
White flag.
Oh, I apologize. They're still racing. I'm excited to see the finish a little bit too much. The 87 of Glazer trying to mount something up, and the 18 of McCartney able to take away the lead from Ryan Steele.
McCartney finally wrestles the lead away. Steele's going to have one final shot at him through the 3-4 complex for the final time. Flagger Phil McCracken has the flag in the air. Checkered flag flies. Kyle McCartney wins his 3rd race of the season. Ryan Steele coming home in 2nd. Bentley Glazer hanging on for 3rd. Bob Beltrami, Ryan Barnes. All 5 of those guys over a 2.5 seconds over 6th place Dalton England. Tire strategy not playing out for the debut of Dalton's Deuce.
And I think you hit it on the head there. I mean, it was the tire game it came down to, and these guys on the fresher tires, what a show they put on there for those last, 10 laps or so there. It was door to door with Ryan Steele and Kyle McCartney, and McCartney celebrating with some donuts. Now I'm sure that he's elated in a finish like that one.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what racing is all about. Rubbing on each other just a little bit to let the other guy know you're still there. Nothing dirty going on. Just, a little bit of contact mid-corner. But McCartney and Steele just put on a clinic there in the closing laps. Just awesome drive. Great drive for Ryan Steele. We saw him have problems early in the event, and able to really make it happen. But take a look at the podium. Kyle McCartney started 11th, finished first. Ryan Steele started 12th, finished second. Bentley Glazer started on the pole, coming home with his 4th podium of the season. That's why he and McCartney have been just in lockstep as far as this points battle goes. McCartney had that one misstep in the second race of the season, finished down in the finishing order, but he's had great runs. Bentley Glazer has set quick time in the hot lap session, quick time in qualifying, led the most laps tonight, and then comes home in 3rd. So, it's just been a great night of racing all around. And I believe we've got Kyle McCartney joining us now. Kyle, congratulations on your 3rd win of the season. Talk us through that final tire stint here to finish it off at Kansas.
Well, I decided to save tires instead of doing what I did at Texas early in the season because I figured everybody else would do that, and it was kind of a split strategy. But man, just getting up through the field was pretty insane. And once we got to the front and we had that last caution, it was pretty much flat out the entire time. So I'm still shaking from that. I can't believe I won this race, man. Like, I was terrible all night long.
You and Ryan Steele put on a clinic of how to race close but clean in the closing laps of this race. That 7-lap shootout at the end of this thing was nothing short of spectacular.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun, and I think I noticed with the less amount of laps we had, every time we'd go by, we would give ourselves each other less and less room, and I was just hoping we wouldn't wreck, and we did that, so that was good. We got through it, and that was just fun. That was a good race.
Absolutely. But talk us through that first green flag stint that you guys put on. Safe to assume that coming through 2 just before you actually took it down pit road that you cut a tire down?
Yeah, no, I bounced off the wall like 3 or 4 times. My goal is always to kind of run the bottom. I liked running the bottom, but when I saw everybody up at the top about halfway through that stint, I started running the top, and I ended up I caught the wall there with right before my pit stop, and so yeah, I had to deal with damage all the way till the end there until I was able to use my fast repair. But yeah, it was fun. I was hoping to stay out and lead a lap, and then I ended up screwing up and didn't even do that. So I'm glad I led a lap at the end.
Well, Kyle, again, 3rd race of the season that you've won. Your thoughts going into another air quote cookie cutter track next week as the series heads to Chi-Town and the Chicagoland Speedway?
Yeah, I'd have to say I hate the mile and a half, but if there is one that I actually don't mind, it's Chicago, just because it's bumpy and kind of worn out. And so once we kind of get some tire wear, I love those types of tracks. For the most part, I'll just wish for another top 5, and maybe I'll walk away with another win. So better be lucky than good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But Kyle, before we let you go celebrate with your team for that 3rd win of the season, is there anybody you want to thank?
Oh, I got to thank the guys with WSRL, whether it's Bob running the show or the other guys we run against. It's just such a fun group to be a part of, and I'm glad I get to do it every week when I am around. And thank you guys at ESPN. You guys do an amazing job. And if you guys haven't subscribed to them on YouTube, make sure you do so.
Thank you so much for that, Kyle. Looking forward to seeing what you can do at Chicagoland. Best of luck to you next week.
Well, thanks, Tony. Have a good one.
So that was That was our race winner, Kyle McCartney, and joining Ben Bruno, our second place finisher, Ryan Steele.
Ryan, another really great run for you here this season in an absolute thriller between you and Kyle. You had to have been white knuckling the wheel a little bit there in that long run, huh?
Honestly, that very last run, I was pretty relaxed actually because I thought I was right where I wanted to be. I made Kyle take the bottom, and I'm like, this is going to be easy. I'll take the win from here. And I'm mad as hell because I managed to let it. I gave it away, even though the race finally went exactly how I wanted it to. I had exactly what I wanted, and I still lost the race, and I'm pissed.
And I mean, I rightfully so, but I mean, really great run from you. We always see you kind of take the edge in pitch strategy, and that was definitely one of the things that played a huge role for you here tonight. Early on in this race, it seemed like tire fall off was going to be a really big problem. How did that end up panning out, and how you were going to decide to be aggressive and not aggressive as the night went on?
Well, I mean, the whole story of the race was a bit weird for me because I expected to run better than I did on the first run, and I was a bit puzzled that I didn't even seem to have top 10 speed on that first run. And I was taking it easy, but I didn't seem to really benefit from it. I kind of didn't really figure out how to run up next to the wall. The setup just kind of felt weird to me, and I didn't like doing it, and I kind of needed to. But then I just played the strategy game as I usually do and tried to save a tire set, which I did. And the cautions worked out in such a way that everyone else used up a tire sets before I did, or most people did. Yeah, that's pretty much all there was to it after that.
Oh, it was certainly a lot of fun to watch. And I mean, as they say, it's not about where you start, it's where you finish. And tonight, Gridden 12th, coming home with a second. Tough to complain about it, even though that it didn't go exactly how you wanted it to. Gonna stay real competitive in the points battle moving forward. As between yourself, Bentley, and Kyle, things really tight. Brian Barnes right behind you. That distance not going to grow very much. Looking forward to Chicagoland next weekend. What could you really take away from this one to try to eliminate that and get that elusive podiums or win this season? My apologies.
Oh, if I want to make up some points on Kyle and Bentley, I'm going to have to disconnect the internet so they take off for a couple of weeks because I'm not going to make up that gap. I'm pretty much just trying to hold on to third, which I can't even believe I have third because, in my opinion, this season has been miserable. So I guess there must be a lot of people that have been having miserable seasons with me if I'm still in third place. But yeah, we'll try to run well at Chicago. We'll see what happens.
Well, hey, who do you want to thank before we let you go real quick on getting you back on the podium here again, Ryan?
Well, I got to thank the Dog Bear Group for helping me prepare, and got to thank you guys for covering the show, and got to thank Bob Beltrami for running the show, as difficult as it can be to, herd all these cats. Yeah, it's just, it's a big job.
Absolutely, and congratulations to you again on another podium finish. We look forward to seeing you next week at Chicagoland.
Yep, hope to see you next week.
So that was our second place, Ryan Steele, and joining us now, Bentley Glazer, fourth podium of the season, fourth pole of the season. And, Bentley can't be too disappointed, especially with how that tire strategy kind of was starting to play out.
Yeah, that was a pretty fun race. I wish the first caution with, someone just stopping on the track didn't happen because I was about to pull away, I think. I was running away from second. But, yeah, it was a good race. Kyle got through traffic really good, and he did a great job. So, good win to him, and good try from Ryan. Just good race overall.
Well, you had a huge moment there in the closing laps as you and Beltrami were throwing haymakers at each other, and Brian Barnes was giving you all sorts of pressure. We saw you make that big swing, get to the inside. Just how difficult was it to keep the truck on the low lane especially later in the tire run?
For me, it really, I didn't have any problem. It kind of got loose there at the late stages of the first run, so I kind of started running higher, but you could go down there for a long time on the low line. It's pretty crazy.
All right. Well, Bentley, we go from 1.5 miles to another. Staying in the Midwest, we go to Chicagoland Speedway next week. Is there anything you could take away from tonight's event that's going to help you next week?
Not really. Just, hopefully we have long runs because, that's been working out for me this season. So we'll see.
All right, Bentley, we're going to let you go celebrate your fourth podium in 5 races this season. Is there anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Thanks to all my teammates, and thanks to you guys. And thanks to Western States Racing League.
All right, defending series champion Bentley Glazer coming home with his 4th podium in 5 races. Bentley, looking forward to seeing what you can do at Chicagoland. Best of luck to you next week.
All right, thank you very much.
So that is gonna about do it for us here tonight. Ben, if you're still in the session, hopefully, let's do a quick rundown of the finishing order here. We talked to Kyle McCartney coming home with his 3rd victory of the season. Ryan Steele coming home with a 2nd place finish. Bentley Glazer, Bob Beltrami, Ryan Barnes rounding out your top 5. Dalton England in his series debut coming home in 6th. Charles Woods, great finish for him, coming home in 7th. Jeff Schmeier, great recovery drive, coming home in 8th. Ron Hollyfield, great recovery drive, coming home in 9th. Dennis Fuson rounding out your top 10. Wayne Fleet in 11th. Kevin Thrift in 12th. 13th going to Jeff Hollingsworth. Keith Hovde in 14th. 15th going to Angelo Espo. And 16th going to Rob Gall. Ben?
17th going to go to Eric Woods in the 85 truck. 18th, Keith Kellman. 19th, David Wood. 20th, Barry Phil. 21st, James Campbell. That's rounding off. Cars on the lead lap. The 29 of Paul Hoffman leading off a lap down on 22nd. Rob Courtney, 23rd. Earl Weaver, 24th. Jeff Schloss, 25th. Scott Kukas, 26th. Javier Perez Torres, 27th. Ryan Patty, retiring early, 28th. David Weaver, 29th. Butch Davis, 30th. Jackson Bell, 31st. Jerry Sterner, 32nd. And Dan Stussy, 33rd. Fred Williams and Earl McCulligan did not start the race.
So that is going to about do it for us here tonight at Kansas Speedway. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, share, turn on bell notifications, as we do this just about every night of the week, folks, with different racing series. Tomorrow night, you can join Frank and I in the booth for the first road course race for the Sim Racers Edge Season 3 as they go to my home track, Watkins Glen. That's tomorrow night. And then 10 minutes later, the Endurance for Amateurs series brings round number 6, I believe, of their current season into play, as Sam Cooper Bennett and I believe Byron Rodney going to be in the booth for that one. So for Ben Bruno, for Frank Marchese up in the production truck, this is Tony Trapassa reminding you, ladies and gentlemen, that as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night.